teacher confiscated phones while scrolling through hers all day, so I made sure the principal confiscated hers. Mrs. Pemberton had a phone graveyard in her desk drawer, and she wasn't just strict about it. She was obsessed. If she saw the outline of a phone in your pocket, that was confiscation. If your phone vibrated in your backpack across the room, that was confiscation. If you even glanced at where your phone might be, she'd swoop down like a hawk and demand you hand it over. The woman had been teaching AP history for 15 years and spent every single one of them building her reputation as the phone Nazi. John's phone slipped from his pocket when he grabbed his pencil. Mrs. Pemberton snatched it while her own Instagram feed glowed on her desk. During Abigail's Holocaust presentation, Mrs. Pemberton never looked up from scrolling and double tapping. Abigail's voice cracked, but Mrs. Pemberton kept texting. When Matthew had his new iPhone out, she walked past him to confiscate Maria's flip phone instead. Some students know how to be discreet, she said. She once spent 20 minutes reading through a confiscated phone, checking for inappropriate content, but we could see her gasping at screenshots of breakout texts. When the fire alarm malfunctioned 3 times in a row, we were all terrified, but Mrs. Pemberton banned us from texting our worried parents even though she herself was clearly typing away in a group chat. Everything changed the day my mom had a work emergency. She texted me that morning saying she might need me to pick up my little sister from elementary school if her meeting ran late. I kept my phone on silent and face down on the corner of my desk while I took notes. I wasn't even looking at it. Mrs. Pemberton walked by during her patrol and snatched it without warning. I tried to explain about my sister, but she cut me off with her favorite line. You should have thought about that before you broke the rules. She dropped my phone in the drawer and turned the lock with a little flourish like she always did. My 8-year-old sister had to wait outside her school for an hour. She sat on the curb crying because she thought everyone had forgotten about her. A teacher finally called my mom's office and they tracked her down in her meeting. By the time my mom got there, my sister was hysterical. I found out what happened after class when I borrowed someone's phone to call my mom. While she told me about my sister's tears and how scared she'd been, I watched Mrs. Pemberton sitting at her desk laughing at TikTok videos. She was actually giggling at some dancing trend while my sister had been terrified and alone. That's when I decided she needed to learn what it felt like. Over the next 2 weeks, I studied her patterns. The principal did quarterly observations on Tuesday or Thursday mornings. The secretary marked these with codes like AR7 on the calendar, which Mrs. Pemberton had figured out meant observation days. I timed her phone addiction and discovered she couldn't last 12 minutes without checking. She'd hide it behind her coffee mug until administrators actually entered, then move it to the drawer. The next observation was Thursday. Wednesday night, I overheard classmates planning to confront someone about cheating in their group chat the next morning. This was perfect because Mrs. Pemberton always got sucked into student drama, just like when she'd spent entire classes reading confiscated phones. I didn't have to create anything fake. Thursday morning arrived and I deliberately chose a seat in the back corner, far from her desk. I opened my notebook and started copying yesterday's notes to look busy. The confrontation in the group chat started right before class, and Mrs. Pemberton's phone behind her coffee mug immediately started buzzing. She glanced at it and her eyes widened. The principal always arrived between 5 and 15 minutes after class started because he stopped at the main office first to check messages. She began teaching about the Cold War, but her eyes kept darting to her phone every few seconds. Another buzz, then another, then rapid notifications that meant someone was typing paragraphs. Her fingers drummed on her desk in that familiar rhythm. At exactly 7 minutes, she cracked and grabbed the phone, muttering about silencing it, but her thumb started scrolling instead. The teenage drama must have been reaching its peak because she gasped quietly and started typing. Her face showed complete absorption in whatever relationship drama was exploding. She didn't notice the classroom door opening at the 9-minute mark. The principal stood there for 10 seconds watching her type furiously before clearing his throat. Mrs. Pemberton's head snapped up to see him staring at her phone in her hands. The same phone she'd confiscated from dozens of students for far lesser offenses. The color drained from her face. I kept my head down, scribbling notes and looking as shocked as everyone else when I finally glanced up. He made her unlock the drawer right there and return every phone immediately, while announcing that teachers would now follow the same phone policy as students. She lost her favorite weapon and couldn't take phones anymore without students mentioning that observation day. Her empty drawer became a monument to her hypocrisy. She still glares at me sometimes like she suspects something, but she can't prove anything. She wanted to control everyone's phones, but couldn't control her own.